In this video, we are going to continue styling our footer. In the previous video, we were able to completely style the About Us section. So in this video, we'll focus on these other sections as well as the copyright section. So let us begin with the helpful links section. What I want us to do is, I want this underline effect to only appear when we hover on the text. And we had already defined a class for this. So I will simply just add that class to the link elements here. Okay, so all link elements in the helpful links section should have a class of link. And when we do that and refresh, you see now that the links only apply when we hover on them. And I want to provide some space between the links because they are a little bit tight right now. So I will select the helpful links section and then each link within that section. So let me just copy this selector for social links and then we'll modify it. So we'll then select helpful links and then each link within that. Actually, not each link, because the link is actually found inside a list element. So let us select the list element instead and we'll give some margin at the bottom. Let's just give it a margin bottom of 8 pixels. That doesn't seem to be working. Let me just give a color of red and see if the CSS is applying. It's not applying. That is because here we are selecting company info and there is no helpful links inside company info. So I'm going to take out that selector and then we'll leave it at just this level of specificity. And then we refresh and now our margin is being applied. Actually, I'm going to leave these list items here. I think they look better than empty like this. And what we need to do is we need to move the helpful links section a little bit to the center of this middle section. And to do that, we're going to select, let me see, that section, it has a class of helpful links. So let us select helpful links, and give it a display of flex and then justify content of center. Refresh. And now since these are helpful links, since this helpful links element has two elements inside it and we give it a display of flex, it is going to display it horizontally by default. But we want it to be vertical and we want it to be centralized in that section. So what I will do is I will wrap all the content of this helpful links section within a single div so that when we do display flex, it's going to only work considering it's going to only have one element, and so only that element will be pushed to the center and it will not be split up. The next thing I want to do is to remove the margin or the padding in this unordered list. Okay, so I'm going to select the unordered list again, the helpful links again, and then the unordered list within that. I'll set the margin at the left to 0. Refresh. Is it padding left? I think it's padding. Okay. I think 0 is too small. Let's set it at 16 pixels. Okay, this is better. And that will be all for the helpful links section. The next section I want us to style is let's see, the copyright section. So styling the copyright section is going to be pretty simple. We have a class of copyright info that is wrapping a paragraph. Okay, we want to centralize this paragraph vertically as well as horizontally. So we are going to use flex to display the content of the copyright info, and then we set align items to center and then justify content to center. So when we do this, it's going to centralize it. And now let us make the text to be a little bit dimmer. So I'm going to select the copyright info selector, and then I'll pick the paragraph within that and give it a color of this color I prepared in the background. Go back to the browser and refresh, and this looks good to go. So the last section and the big boy of this footer is the contact us section, or the contact us form. Okay, so first of all, we need to make sure that the form is occupying the remaining 40%. We did give it a flex basis of 40%, but for some reason it's not assuming that space. So I'm going to emphasize this using the important flag and refresh, and now it is occupying the entire width. I'm not exactly sure why it is requiring this, but maybe some of these styles we added were interfering with it. Okay, so with that out of the way, we can now select the contact or the input elements as well as the input group within the contact wrapper. Okay, so let us take a look at the HTML. We are within the contact wrapper, and we have input field for the email, your email address to be more clear, and it has a class of contact. And then we also have the text area. I think we should give it a class of contact as well. I think input control as well as contact. Let us refresh, and now it looks like a proper form. So we just need to modify the background color as well as the color. For that, we are simply going to select any input group that has a class of contact within the contact wrapper. Okay, for such an input, we'll give it, we don't need to give it a round border, we'll just give it a transparent border, 1 pixel solid transparent. We'll give it a background color of this color I prepared in the background. And then the color is going to be almost white, but not exactly white. Okay, this is it. Now let us refresh. Let me hold down shift and refresh. It's not working for some reason. Okay, so this is input control and not our input group. So let us fix that. So any element with a class of input control that also has a class of contact should assume these styles. Refresh, and now it works. So the next thing is what we want the form or the input elements to look like when the user focuses on them. Okay, for that we are simply going to duplicate this selector for the contact input element or input control, and then we'll add a pseudo selector for the focus event when the user focuses on it. And when that happens, we simply want to give this a background color of this color I prepared in the background. And when we refresh this and then we hover or we focus on the input fields, you now see this effect. Okay, this looks good, and that's all the styling that we need to do on the footer. So in the next video, the only thing we need to do now is to make sure that this footer is responsive on all screen sizes.